Hi, I'm Elizabeth,
And I'm Cindy.
and we're here with another feeding frenzy for the Abundance book by John Randolph Price.
Why are you laughing?
Sorry.
What?
It's just not worth going into. So
Okay.
never mind. All right, so we're on day 2. I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of all my good.
Good.
All right, we're going to take this little piece at a time. I lift up my mind and heart to be aware. Why do you think John is listed mind and heart? To be
Because I think we can know things here, we can know things here. And so we must become aware in both places, not only in the mind, but also in the heart. We must have our mind and feeling nature involved.
And why is that
in the
necessary?
process. Well, because I need to feel it before it becomes real for me. I can know something here, but until I know it here, I don't really believe it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's from the heart. In my mind, the heart is the rudder, so to speak. And the mind is just the navigation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to be aware in both places. Not just, oh yeah, I know that, but oh yeah, I know that, you know.
Well, and for me, until I connect it to my emotion, I don't take any action on it.
Right. True.
I can know something and just file it away. But if I connect it to my emotions, then I'm more apt to act on it, understand it a little further, or do something with it,
Right.
rather than just file it away. But he says something further. He says, "I lift up my mind and heart to be aware," and he goes further, to understand and to know.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about this the first time we went through this, the difference between aware, understand, and know. And for me, it's a progression. First, I'm aware of something. I think, oh, I observe it, I see it, I become aware of it, and then I understand it. That's why that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the process.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I understand it, I can begin to know it and trust it. So once I aware, understand, and know, then it becomes a part of my experience.
Right, right.
And then I think one step further, we push it into our subconscious. Once I've gone through that process, it's in my subconscious, I don't even have to think about it anymore.
Right, right.
So
We also equated this to electricity.
right,
We became aware of it, and we didn't use it until we began to understand it.
how it worked and the properties of it.
How it works. And so once we began to understand it, then we began to work with it. We knew the properties of it and how we could use it safely.
And we begin to
and that
trust
kind of
it.
stuff.
We
And
know
began
that it's
to
going to
trust
work every time.
it. Exactly. So now we've moved it to our subconscious, so that when we walk into a particular room, the first thing you do is look for the light switch. You
Turn
don't
it on
ask.
without thinking about the
Exactly. You
electricity.
don't ask, is there electricity? Can I use it? Can it be used safely? If I flip the switch, is it going to come on? None of those questions come to the forefront anymore because it's gone into the knowing.
Right,
I know it's here, so I know it works.
right, right.
So it's the same principle.
So the only
when
time
we're
we think
thinking
about it is when it doesn't work.
Right. So it's the same thing when we're thinking about abundance, isn't it? We first have to become aware.
Of the properties of prosperity.
Well, I would
and
say
the law.
more broadly, we have to be aware that the planet is in abundance.
That's true.
So many people think that there's not enough to go around. And once I began to become aware of the fact that there's more than enough to go around, we just have a problem with, making sure the right people have it and just, distributing it. Once you are in the awareness that there is more than enough abundance, then you work into the understanding of the abundance and how it works and how the laws of abundance and
Right.
attraction work.
One thing that helped me was to think of it as, well, I think we're taught to think of our abundance or what we have, especially when it comes to money, as a pie. And if my pie gets bigger, then I'm taking from somebody else's. But what really happens is the whole pie just gets bigger.
Right.
Instead of
Right.
taking from somebody else, the whole pie just gets bigger. So if I get more, so does everybody else. Which really helped me to see the abundance principle rather than me taking from
Right.
someone else to get
Right.
more.
Law of supply and demand, right? Right. So he says, I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know Okay, what are we going to know? We're going to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of all my good. First of all, do you believe that to be a true statement?
Yes. Yes. I think it's important to note here that I am is all caps.
It is all caps.
And so it's really talking about God, the divine I am, the divine God, the divine, as it say, substance that I
The
am.
divine presence,
Presence.
I am.
Divine presence.
And that's all capitalized. And we discussed that he capitalized them to put the emphasis on them. And the emphasis being the divine, the one mind, God, heaven, universe, spirit, whatever you label
your,
it.
Your greater being.
Right.
Higher
Right.
good.
Is the source, which is capitalized, and substance, which is capitalized, of all my good. Why do you think he capitalized source and substance?
To show that it's really God behind the source, behind the good or the supply.
Well, that God is the supply too.
Right.
Not only is the source, but is the supply
Right. So
as well.
in my mind, every time he capitalizes, it's just an attribute of God. He's emphasizing a specific attribute of God. In this case, supply and source. The source is that everything begins with Him. It all comes from God.
And all
All
returns
of
to.
it. It all goes back to God. It all is God. God's in everything. God is everywhere. So
True.
He's the source. He's also the supply. If God is in everything, then He's in the money. He's in everything we have. He's in all of it. It's just, in my mind, it's a different energy level.
Sure.
He's in this couch. It's just a different energy level than me that He's in. So He is our source and our supply. The divine presence. Is presence capitalized too?
Yes.
So He is the presence. He's everywhere, all the time.
So how does that work into the study of prosperity? Knowing this, how does becoming aware, understanding, and knowing this, how does that work into?
Well, because I think in our
Prosperity.
societies, especially, we tend to think that, oh, I have to do this thing to get more stuff. I have to work harder to get more stuff. I have to go to a job. I have to go do this to produce more income or whatever. And I think when we realize that the abundance is there, it's not that we have to do anything for it. We do, but not in the way we think we do.
Right.
You know, we just have to get out of the way and let it come to us.
And we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Thanks.
Shereen,